Today I'm going to talk about how you can start capturing your world in 3D using technology you've already got and software that's free or really cheap. And you can do stuff like take the Goldie statue that's in front of Kaufman Union and turn it into an interactive 3D model that then you can 3D print or use in all your cool virtual reality games. So there's a few different approaches to capturing things in 3D. And there's three main ones. There's lots of others sort of on the esoteric end of things, but the first one is photogrammetry, which is sometimes called structure from motion, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. There's another one called structured light, and that, if you're familiar with things like the Microsoft Kinect or Xbox Kinect, or even the new face recognition feature on the iPhone X, iPhone 10, that is the technology that those use. And then there's various versions of sort of laser-based 3D capture. There's LiDAR, and there's laser triangulation and other things. Those tend to be more out of the reach of people who are just looking to play around. So photogrammetry is what we want to focus on today. And photogrammetry, as you might guess, relies on photographs. And so fundamentally what it involves is taking lots and lots of pictures from slightly different positions and then matching up those images to figure out where the cameras were when those photos were taken. So we take a few photos from different positions around an object. We find all of the matches between those images. And then from there, we can actually calculate where all the cameras were when the photos were taken. And using that data, we can actually figure out the shape of the object by sort of reprojecting through the cameras. And we're not going to get into all the math here. It's pretty cool. It's a good use of sort of iterative math that's super like GPU friendly. But the point is you can use the camera you've already got, even your cell phone, to just take a lot of pictures of an object and then use some software to turn it into 3D. And it works for both objects, but also spaces, buildings, statues, anything. So to take photographs for photogrammetry, there's really only three things you need to keep in mind. First, you need overlap between photos. We usually say about 66% overlap between the photos, so you sort of take a photo and then move and take a photo and move, or if you're moving around something, sort of aim for a lot of overlap. You need static scenes, so if people are walking through the scene or things are moving around, the software can't figure out how things should match up. This is not a great technology for things like trees that are sort of swaying in the breeze or animals that are moving around as you're trying to capture them. And then you don't want to adjust the camera, so don't zoom the camera, don't make big settings adjustments to the camera, because that makes it harder for the software to figure out what's going on. And the software in large part relies on figuring out the sort of optics of the lens system on the camera in order to do this cool 3D stuff. So there's lots of software out there, but I've highlighted three. There's one called Trinio. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's for iOS and it's free. And it actually helps you with the photography process and does all the cool processing. And it happens, you can do it all from your phone. And that's really fun if you're just out and about and you want to give this a try. So I'd highly recommend that. If you're on Windows, Autodesk, which is available, all of their products are available free here at the university to folks in education. They have a set of tools that go under the Recap name. Every month they seem to have a different name for these. The current thing is called Recap Photo. Last week it was called Recap Remake. And so that's freely available. It's becoming increasingly Windows-centric, though. They used to have sort of a web version, and they're decommissioning that. But definitely check that out. Really, just take your photos, drop them in, and hit go, and it does everything for you. And then the last one is called Agisoft Photoscan, which is about $50 if you want to buy a copy. And that's the one that sort of people who are doing this day to day as part of sort of a larger workflow tend to use, because it's got the most tweaks and adjustments and things for dealing with bad data and for really optimizing things. Or if you're doing sort of scientific analysis, it gets into that space as well. But basically what we're going to do, as an example, I was at a museum in Germany last month and took a bunch of pictures of a wall. You can see here. These were just taken with my iPhone as I walked down along this wall. Nothing special at all, just the camera app in the iPhone, and I just sort of took a picture and then took a big step and took another picture. And the end result is I got this really cool interactive model of the wall that you can actually zoom in on. You can see all of that relief. And you can do things like change the way in which you're lighting it to get different views of the shape. Obviously, we can do higher quality stuff if we take the time to take really nice photographs, but I think it's a really fun way to start capturing things and to start playing with the 3D experience. If you find that you're really interested in this stuff, here's the plug, asos.umn.edu. We actually run a lab that does this kind of stuff for students, staff, faculty, anyone at the university who's interested in getting into the 3D world.